It's Wednesday the 4th of May here at the Tribune. I suppose the same for you are. And it's the podcast with John McAteer, Declan Kerr, Eamon McFadden, and we have a new young man here today, local heartthrob here in Milford. Dahi, you're very welcome.
Thanks.
14 years of age, you're the youngest ever. Dahi Rays, student,
Of Loretta Milford.
footballer.
Yeah.
What club do you play for?
Milford United under 16s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what kind of hobbies have you?
I like playing football, basketball, and playing the PS in that time, PS4.
What about tractors? Because you're holding a piece there with the tractor on. Tell us about that.
There's scenes here from the Milford Presbyterian Church tractor, vintage and classic car on a Monday in Milford with all proceeds to the Ukrainian fund.
Very good.
Did you go out onto it? Were you at it?
Yeah, I was with it. I was at it with Francis taking pictures.
What was the crack? Was it good?
Yeah, good to see all the cars and tractors. There was a lot of people there enjoying it, so it was good.
That's good. That makes up a full page today.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them on at the weekend, was there?
Yeah, there was one on Sunday, was it? In Carrigaud.
Yeah. One of the other exciting things in the paper this week, and it's amazing the kind of things that turn up in the Tribune. Neil Parish, an MP in Wales, no, Somerset,
Devon or somewhere like
Devon,
that.
yeah.
Somerset, yeah.
long-serving MP, who was caught twice on his phone watching porn. And Anthony McCabe done it. He's doing a bit about the Northern Ireland elections this week, but he says MP watching tractors and up pops porn, which is a good take on it. Another big story today is Robert Watt and was at the Health Finance Heritage Committee dealing with the appointment of Tony Holohan. Not a very satisfactory, and Mark McSherry, I think, walked out of that meeting.
I think it got very heated, didn't
Got
it?
very, very heated. Now, Watt was going to defend his ground anyway, especially the letter he sent to the Provost of Trinity College that apparently Stephen Donnelly, the Health Minister, was in Morning Island on the 6th of April and wasn't aware that the letter had a written or what its contents were. So this is one that's still continuing to burn and to run. And I suppose you could take that alongside Declan, the turf war that seems to be going on.
Yeah, still ongoing, and no sign of peace breaking out there yet.
No means.
By no means, and I suppose the rural constituency of politicians are certainly keeping the pressure on in relation to that. And I don't know where it's going, John, in terms of Eamon Ryan now, and
it's going to get bogged down because September is the deadline. Eamon Ryan is going to stick to his guns. Turf, as from next year, will be prohibited in villages or towns over 500 people, which means Milford is more than 500 people, has it?
I'd say so,
I
probably.
would say so, yeah. It's government policy.
yeah,
The rural TDs are up in arms, rightly so. They're arguing that to a great extent that this figure that Eamon Ryan is using of about 1,300 deaths from pulmonary issues each year. I heard Michael Fitzmaurice on radio earlier on today, contradicting that entirely. He says, if there are deaths from turf smoke, it's probably less than 2 people. And this is something that, he says they're just using a big stick.
yeah. The urban, that's a bigger issue for the urban areas.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah.
Turf fire and all its importance. But anyway, we're going to move on. Talk about Joe McHugh. Were you surprised that he was going to step away at the next election?
I'm not overly surprised. I don't think.
That seems to be a general view from talking to people today.
I haven't seen Joe the way he's in recent times. He has, I suppose, served at the highest echelons that he's you think that he would, and has done it very well. But I don't think it was overly a shock to say that he maybe after the next election he will step away. Now, obviously there's a household steeped in Fine Gael politics there on both sides, with himself and Alwyn. So it's.
Yeah. But I suppose he had the highs of being a minister for education, and he was the chief whip, and he was also a minister for the Gaeltacht, wasn't he?
The Gaeltacht, so
he was the Gaeltacht man. He was at the cabinet table for 6 years. It doesn't get any better than that. But to get such a high profile ministry in 2018 as Minister for Education, he would have delivered money to your school up there, and indeed to Mulroy College, and indeed to many of the national schools, including Creasna, where he's highly regarded, especially by the local curate. And he has done a lot for Donegal, and we're doing a fair bit on that today. It's not our lead story, obviously, because it's been out in news all since early morning. He came to prominence first in 1999, when he
That's right.
ran for the seat here in
Milford.
Milford.
Remember him canvassing that
Headquarters
time
based down the town here. It was just like a fair day every day and every night. Massive campaign ongoing, but his whole campaign was to sort of reunite Fine Gael, to end the infighting that has been going on there for the previous 20 years that saw them lose their seat in 1997. He done a fair job of that, but I mean, at this point he's stepping away. I suppose he's of the view that his best days in politics are probably over insofar as getting back onto the front bench is concerned, because
I suppose that was a watershed when he didn't retain a senior ministerial
huge
position.
watershed. It was a huge watershed, because it came like a bolt out of the blue, because he was a particularly good and proactive minister, but he'll be most remembered around these parts for getting that roadworks from the N56 from Dunsville out to Kilmacrenan. It's a fantastic achievement to get that done.
The blue banks and all that.
Cycle.
What, in the greater order of things, Declan, what does it mean to Fine Gael, or for them?
I suppose it's going to be a very difficult road ahead in terms of how are they going to where are they going to get, who is going to be the candidate that's going to hold, or is it possible to hold that seat now?
Are they being left without any leadership after the next election?
Well,
like, given that in 2 years' time we're going to have the local elections?
It's a huge vacuum, once, alright, Joe's going to be there for the next 2 years, but, how are they going to be able to work a successor to Joe?
There's a fair bit of groundwork to be done to kind of clear a path there for you, think?
There's a massive amount of groundwork, but I mean, across all political parties right now, there is a distinct, COVID has had a huge impact. People haven't been fit to meet in person. These social media messaging and these Zoom meetings, they're not satisfactory. They're a stopgap for a very short time. Are you on Zoom?
What is it?
Zoom.
No, I
You ever
don't.
do a Zoom call or anything like that there?
No, we just do Google Meet for school.
Google Meets, that's kind of similar.
It's fairly similar.
Yeah,
And what's that like?
it's good. It's like you can like see each other and all. It's
So you
like,
attend a class online
Yeah.
and such.
and the teachers like
And-
have a board and they be
Yeah.
putting the stuff up on the board.
And you just do as you do at school.
Yeah,
Totally ignored.
do the same.
But like, Joe McHugh has made a fairly significant contribution to Donegal. He has made a significant contribution to Fine Gael, but Fine Gael has not been doing well in the polls at all, the national polls.
And I suppose what you were talking about, John, they have only 4 councillors in the county, and one of those is in South Donegal.
Barry Sweeney's in
Yeah.
Ballyshannon, so
Yeah.
he's down in Sligo Leitrim.
Yeah.
They effectively have 3 councillors in the constituency, though that will probably change after the review of the constituencies when the census is filled, or when the first figures come out, probably in mid-autumn, September, October time. We expect that the population of Donegal will have grown from around 160,000 maybe to over 180,000. Now, whether that's enough to effect a change, the speculation that the change could come in Sligo Leitrim, that we would retain our 5 seats, but we might lose some ground. Sligo Leitrim, that is a constituency that has been changed at every single election. There's been parts of West Cavan in there, there's been bigger chunks of Donegal up around Glencolmkill in there, and at the moment, numbers of areas north of Roscommon are in that constituency. It's a very likely possibility that will be substantiated and increased maybe to a 5-seater. Because if the population has grown by that amount here in Donegal, with no obvious increase in jobs being created, Sligo, I would presume, is a fairly busy, hectic town area as well. you have numbers of big towns in Sligo, Leitrim, you know, you have
City region.
Hamilton there. Have you any interest in politics there at all?
No, nothing.
What do young people be? What do they look? Do they look at any political stuff at all?
I don't think so. I don't anyway, so I don't know about the rest.
Are you aware of all the different parties and all this kind of thing?
Some of them.
Some of them. People before profit, would that resonate very highly in your head?
Nah,
The Green Party.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
The Green.
What about John O'Donnell?
I don't know about him.
You better get to know about him because he's a big advertiser in the Tribune. He's your local councillor out the road in Kilmacrenan. You're going to have to get to know about these boys.
I'll need to meet him someday.
There'll be no bother in meeting him. There'll be absolutely no bother if you want to see him. Just we'll give you his phone number.
Be a vote, another vote card.
But Joe McHugh, where now? Who's going to replace him? That's going to be a big question. There's just one name being touted about there, who's already a councillor in Dublin, Siobhan Shovlin, who's a native of Ardra.
Yeah.
Don't know how that will resonate. Fine Gael people that I've talked to today seem pretty secure that she's a well-known figure.
Yeah. Well known in Donegal Association, cert in Dublin, but
but
she's involved with the Donegal Association and that sort of stuff, and the GA, she's involved with them. But
She's
down
in
here,
Fingal County Council.
she's there since 2020. I see she
Right.
was co-opted
Oh,
to replace somebody in 2020, so she's just about 2 years.
So you'd wonder how that would translate to on the ground here. In
the irony
Donegal.
of all this here is that Leo Varadkar's here in Donegal on Friday. He's going to be visiting Milford, I believe.
Will they be scouting for some talent?
I think he's visiting the Milford Resource Centre, which could be significant. Are you listening there? Up at the Resource Centre? Or did you know he was coming, Declan? Anyway.
That's not me you're talking to.
No. Talking to Declan Meehan. Yeah, I think he's coming here because we've got a number of Ukrainian families living here, and the Resource Centre was quite instrumental in helping them to settle in here because it's a real change of life. From Ukraine, it's 2,000 miles away, and the war in Ukraine. Do you have any sort of issues about? Do you know anything about what the war is about? Ukraine and Russia.
I've heard some of it, like
Yeah,
that the diesel prices and all, a lot of things are going up.
yeah.
Because the war.
Yeah, I think anyway.
What about John? What about Martin Harley?
Martin Harley's name will be in there if Martin wants that to happen because he's a fairly seasoned campaigner. He's fairly well known, done extremely well at the last 2 elections, he got Fine Gael over the line to hold that seat. I would say the nomination would have to be offered to Martin Harley if he wants it. I haven't talked to him, but without his input and his hard work, Joe McHugh would not have retained that seat. And the awkward thing about that there is that I don't have page 2 here, so I'm talking off the top of my head almost. Fine Gael's profile in the constituency at the last general election should have been reasonably high, but they were just at 13.8%. Given that Sinn Féin was over 45% and Fianna Fáil was up around 18%. You know, Martin Harley just got under 4%. Joe McHugh, who got very little return for the amount of work they had put into the constituency, a bit like Jimmy McDade back in the day. But Martin Harley definitely. Well, are there others there?
Yeah.
I don't know of them.
Yeah.
Sinn Féin is very thin on the ground insofar as county councillors are concerned. You know, given that there's 37 councillors and there's 4 of them from Fine Gael, it's probably their worst ever position to be in. And they did misfire at the last local elections. They couldn't get a seat here in Milford when it was wide open. They failed to take a second seat in Letterkenny. Probably the wrong choice of candidates. Wrong policy direction. They seem to be floundering from the very off, and that has been an Achilles heel for the party at local elections for a long time. But we're going to move on. You're going to tell us a bit about Fannet United.
Yeah. So Fannet have been crowned First Division champions. Fannet United secured their first league title win in 11 years, with Eddie O'Reilly's late winner coming in the last action of the game, sealing the Donegal League Division 1 silverware on Sunday in Killybegs against St Catherine's. The hosts were also title contenders at Emerald Park, but needed a victory over Arthur Lynch's side to set up a big finale this coming Sunday. However, it wasn't to be, and instead it's a super success for the Fanad squad, manager Lynch, Paul Nash, Packy McIlwain, Darren Nash, and the rest of the backroom staff at Treala. Having secured promotion to the Premier Division, the previous week Fanad were on a mission to win the league title. Lynch's side led the Division 1 by 2 points from fellow title challengers St Catherine's, and that set up a big clash between the two sides in Killybegs on Sunday. There were only 2 games left for both sides going into the weekend, but Lynch's men knew a victory would lead them, would
give
crown them league champions.
Yeah.
Their last title was in the Ulster Senior League in 2011 under Finn Harp's manager Ollie Horgan.
And you see where Ollie has gone to. Do you see Arthur Lynch taking over Finn Harp and Ollie finishes?
Don't know. Ollie's doing a good job.
now.
You're playing soccer yourself at underage
Yeah,
with Milford.
yeah.
And at school as well.
Not this year. There's not enough teachers to take over like our age because they're doing other years and all.
Right.
But hopefully next year we have a team like.
So you're playing with the Milford under 16s?
Yeah.
And how's things going this season in the mixed, is it? Or?
Yeah, mixed.
Right. Very good.
Some not so good results.
Right.
That's your big interest is soccer.
Yeah.
What about Gaelic?
No, I'm not into the Gaelic.
Are you not?
No.
Rugby.
A bit.
A bit.
My brother is, yeah, plays it.
I know your brother's a pretty good rugby player.
Yeah, not too bad.
Eamon, talk to us about this feature. Don't burn it, Patrick will turn it.
Yeah, this is just a wee feature there. It's littered with nice photographs of Patrick Sweeney from Letterkenny, who... Patrick is a man of sort of many talents. He started off his life as a cabinet maker and a carpenter and kind of worked in the building sector more than anything else. But over the lockdown, like a lot of people, he found himself with a bit of more time on his hands than normal. And one of the things he had diversified into since becoming a carpenter in his early days was he did digital media and all this. He went back to college and he's a great champion of returning to education. But he'd been hoarding away at wood for nearly 20 years with a view of taking up his passion of wood turning that he started when he was first learning his apprenticeship. And he collects wood from all different parts of the locality and he seasons it and he treats it properly. But he started back at wood turning then just over the lockdown, and he's really applied all his design and his experience into that now. So he's creating an absolute phenomenal range of stuff that he just sort of loves, makes for his own hobby more than anything else.
So it's a very, very good story and some great detail there.
You'll see a lot from the pictures in it.
It's on a colour page because we're running out of time here. Uganda story, Jane Cadwallader. Her local link is the former journalist who works with the Pat Finucane Peace Centre, is Anne Cadwallader, and this is
Sale of Works.
Sale of Work. This is Uganda. Long way from Fanad, but
and Jane's working with a self-help group there, and so over this weekend now at the masses in Fanad, or after the masses, there'll be colourful products from Uganda for sale, and I suppose just it's a very good cause. So hopefully, or please God, people will come out and support and it's a very worthy cause. So
with nice stuff.
It's in Massmount on Saturday evenings after 6 o'clock Mass, and Fanavolte after 7 o'clock Mass, provided people can get down there in time with Father Pat's Mass is taking so long. Must last at least half an hour. But anyway, it's a very interesting story how Jane became involved. She was out there probably touring in a truck or whatever, and it broke down, and she got a lot of local help. And afterwards, when she was thanking everybody, she said she would like to help the school. If they needed desks or pens or pencils or anything like that, she would love to come back and raise the money. And the principal of the school who was there said, we would love to have a school. And she embarked on that project. That's 10 years ago, and she has raised a lot of money for a lot of important projects out there. Obviously, it's a very, very different step down from our resources here in Ireland, where we're literally millionaires in comparison. But anyway, we're going to move on. We were just finishing up. We're dealing with the Joe McHugh story, but our main story will return once more to the Friends of Letterkenny University Hospital, who clarify why they funded for a cardiac lab. It's a very, very interesting story, and it's a controversy that's not going to go away anytime soon. We hope it doesn't go, because the people of Donegal raised €750,000. That cath lab, that cardiac cath lab, was purchased and installed in 2018, and now 4 years later it has never been commissioned, and this is factual according to the Friend. It has never been commissioned for the purpose that it was purchased for. It has been used perhaps a third of a day per week or thereabouts for other purposes. It's a machine that can do various other projects and operations and diagnostics. But that's the story that is out there. And in the middle of all that, is that we're just reflecting on the fact that a shining beacon for Donegal is Dr. Santos David, because of the work that he has done there and the undoubted expertise and diagnostic skills that he has brought to Donegal to save lives. But that is all in the Tribune this week. Go out and buy it, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.